Red Wing Software is excited to announce the release of version 19 of CenterPoint. Let me take a few minutes to highlight some of the changes that you'll see in this update. For the accounting updates, I will be presenting the demonstration using CenterPoint Accounting, but if you happen to have CenterPoint for Agriculture or CenterPoint Fund, the steps will remain the same. For the payroll features, I'll be using standalone payroll. This video will only cover the major features of version 19. For a full list of features, you'll want to go to Help, and then either CenterPoint Help or CenterPoint Payroll Help. You'll click on What's New, and then you can expand each section to see the features that have been added to that section of the program. Let's start with the new feature added to both accounting and payroll called Tasks. Tasks can now be found on your quick list under the section called Tasks. There are dynamic tasks which allow you to easily see liability invoices that are due. So you can see here where I have multiple liability invoices that are due. Or you can create scheduled tasks to create a to-do list like I did here for this one, where it's set to run reports for my accountant. If you have processes that require multiple steps, you can create a workflow by setting up tasks in a particular sequence order on your list. I've done that for running payroll. There are several steps involved with running payroll each time I do that, and I put them in a particular order. Tasks are organized into 4 different groups. We have past due, due today, due this week, and due later. Each section can be expanded or collapsed by clicking on the arrow at the end of the section. To launch a task, you can double-click on the task and it'll launch the action associated with that task. In the case of the AP invoice that I double-clicked on, it brought me to the screen where I can actually pay that invoice. If you right-click on the task section, then you can turn off any liability invoices you don't want to see. So you can see here where I've turned off credit card liability invoices. Right-clicking on the screen also allows you to add a new task or edit an existing task. I'm going to choose Edit a Task, but this is the same screen that you would get when you're adding a new task. You'll give the task a name. You'll tell us the first date that you want to launch that task, and then you'll also describe whether or not it is recurring. If it is recurring, you'll click on the recurrence button and tell us about that recurrence. In this case, it is a monthly task that is going to be run on the first day of every month. You can attach an action to the task, and my action is to bring up the report screen to run the reports for my accountant. For each task, you can also assign a sequence number to it, and that's how I created the workflow for my payroll, by attaching a sequence number and having those come up in a particular order. There has also been a security enhancement added to version 19 called Report Filter Security. Report Filter Security allows an administrator to set report filters for users. This allows users to run reports while limiting the information they can access. You first need to have security turned on, and you need to open the database with one of your administrator users. You can see that I'm opened using the user administrator at the bottom left-hand corner of my screen. Then you'll go to Reports, and you'll find the report that you want to restrict access for. I'm going to restrict access for my Accounts Receivable Aging Report, so we'll right-click on the report and go to Security. At the top of the screen, you can select from the different user groups that you set up in Security to select the one that you want to restrict access for. If you want to limit total access to the report, then you can check the box called Restrict Access, and that group won't have access to the report at all. But if you only want to restrict access to certain information on the report, you'll choose one of the filters below. I've chosen the filter for Company and have selected that the users in this group can only run the report for one of my 2 companies, the company being Alpine Sports. So I'm going to click OK there, and we're going to close that. And now I want to open up the database with a username that is a member of that group. So you can see at the bottom of the screen that I've opened the database with the user Lucy, who is a member of that group. So now if I return to reports and I pull up that same report and highlight it, On the right-hand side of the screen where the filters are, you'll see that the filter for company is grayed out and I can't change it. I can only run this report for the company called Alpine Sports. Emailing forms such as invoices, sales orders, purchase orders, billing statements, or any other forms has been expanded to allow you to add form fields so that the emails can be customized. To do this, we'll go to File and Preferences. Under Preferences, we'll select Email Setup, and I'm going to select Customer Invoices, but you'd repeat the same option for any of the other forms. I'm going to go to the Database tab where I've started a template for this email. You'll see that I've inserted some form fields. Those are the ones that are highlighted in blue. So this email will change depending on what company it's being sent from and what invoice number is being attached to the form. If you want to add additional form fields, you can see down at the bottom of the screen where you can add form fields by using the left square bracket on your keyboard or by clicking the Fields button. Doing either will bring up a list of fields that you can then use to, or that you can select from to insert into your email. And there I've selected Company Phone. There are also some payroll features added to version 19, so I'm going to switch over to standalone payroll. One of the features that has been added to version 19 is to enhance the ability to have more accurate due dates on your payroll liabilities. To do this, we are going to allow you to attach terms to your payroll vendors. Those terms will help calculate a more accurate due date. To demonstrate this, I'm going to go to Processes and Pay Employees, where I've got a payroll started. I'm going to edit that payroll and go to the Print Checks tab. On the right-hand side of the screen is a checkbox to display the liabilities so that when I post this pay run, we'll see those liabilities displayed. Here's a list of all the liabilities that are going to be associated with this pay run. For those vendors that I've attached terms to, you'll see the terms listed in the terms box, and then the due date will be something other than the date of the pay run. You'll see here this one's 8/15, where the pay run is actually 7/16. Those that don't have terms will still have the payroll date as the due date. For any of the payroll liabilities, you can manually change the due date by just typing in the due date that you want it to be. So you see here that I changed this one to 7/24. When you click OK and you continue to post that pay run, it'll post those liabilities with those due dates. I'm going to right-click on the Tasks section and click Refresh, and then underneath Due Today, or actually I'll say Due This Week, we're going to see those that were 7/16. And then underneath Due Later, we're going to see those payroll liabilities where the due date was changed to a later date. Setting up new leave and leave tables and assigning those to your employees has been simplified by the addition of a leave setup wizard and a leave configuration wizard. To get to the Leave Setup wizard, we're going to go to Setup, Payroll Details, and Leave. I'm going to click New, and then it's going to ask us if I want to use the Leave Setup wizard. I'm going to click Yes, and it's going to take us into a fairly self-guided wizard that will ask you and prompt you for the information necessary to create this leave and get it configured for your employees. After completing each step, you'll click Next to go to the next screen and answer the questions on that screen. And we'll keep answering those questions until we get to the point where we need to enter in our leave table. So we'll go ahead and we'll enter in our leave table. And then that'll take us to the end of the leave setup wizard. When we click finish, it'll ask us if we want to use the leave configuration wizard, which adds the leave to the employees that we select, and it'll also allow us to enter in the beginning balances that they have for the leave. If you don't want to go into that wizard now, you can click no. And then at any time, you can come back to setup leave and right click on the leave item and assign it to employees. And that'll take you back into the leave configuration wizard, which then will allow you to select which employees you want to add this leave item to and enter in their beginning balances. And that is just a small sample of the features that have been added to version 19 of CenterPoint and CenterPoint Payroll. If you have suggestions for CenterPoint, please go ahead and call us at 1-800-732-9464 or email us at suggestions@redwingsoftware.com.